Vote by mail is the best way to vote. It's easy, safe, and accountable, but there are some important deadlines. Number 1, voter registration for all voters is October 5th, 2020. The vote by mail request for a ballot to be mailed must be received at the Supervisor of Elections office by 5 p.m. on October 24th. Number 3, you may pick up a vote by mail ballot at any time after they're printed up to November 2nd at 5 p.m. at the SOE's office. The vote by mail ballot must be mailed to allow delivery to the SOE's office by 7 p.m. on November 3rd. Remember to vote early. Aim for October 18th. Your vote by mail ballot can be hand delivered to the SOE's office by 7 p.m. November 3rd. Your vote by mail ballot can be dropped off at any of the 3 early voting sites in Charlotte County from October 19th to November 1st. And on Election Day, you can take your vote by mail ballot to your voting location to use as a guide to vote, and then you'll destroy it, as you will already have voted at this site. You may not drop it off at the polling location. Now let's give you some facts about vote by mail. Fact number 1, your vote will count. You can check it online at charlottevotes.com or by calling the Supervisor of Elections office at 941-833-5400. Fact number 2, there's not a huge dump or deluge of vote by mail ballots on Election Day. Vote by mail ballots are counted continually from October 19th to November 1st. The results aren't open, but they are counted. Fact number 3, vote by mail ballots are not tampered with and will not be changed and will always be delivered. Tampering with vote by mail is a federal offense and a postal regulation offense, so it's a double federal offense. Fact number 4, vote by mail is secure. Out of 250 million ballots cast over the past 20 years, only 1,200 were alleged to be fraudulent, and out of those, only 204 were voted by mail. Fact number 5, vote by mail is easy. In Florida, if you're registered to vote, you may request a vote by mail ballot without a reason. Absentee and vote by mail are exactly the same thing.
Your mail-in ballot will come in a white envelope that looks like this. Note that the envelope flap explains how you can track the status of your vote, so you may want to hold on to that. Inside, you will find 3 things: a blue secrecy sleeve, the ballot printed on white paper, and a buff-colored envelope for returning your ballot. When you fill in your ballot, make sure that you use a pen with black or blue ink. Be sure to fill in the oval beside your chosen candidate completely. Mark only the number of candidates or issue choices for a race as indicated on the ballot. If the directions say to choose 1 candidate and you choose more than one, your vote in that race will not count. If you make a mistake, you will need to call the Office of the Supervisor of Elections to request a new ballot. Do not cross out, or your vote may not count. After filling out the ballot, put the ballot inside the secrecy sleeve. Then put the secrecy sleeve into the buff-colored return envelope and seal the envelope. The most important thing to do is to make sure that you sign and date the envelope. Your signature certifies the ballot. The signature must closely match the signature of record. If you feel that your signature may have changed, please make sure that you update your signature before submitting your ballot. This can be done by sending a voter registration application to the Supervisor of Elections. It must be received for processing before your ballot is received. There is space under the signature box for you to fill in your email address and cell and home phone numbers. Supplying this information will make it possible for you to be contacted if there are any questions about your ballot. On the front of the envelope, fill in your name and return address in the upper left-hand corner. You can submit your ballot at any polling place during early voting or at the office of the Supervisor of Elections. On Election Day, it can only be submitted at the Supervisor's office. You can also choose to mail your ballot. On the return envelope, it states that no postage is necessary. Despite this, it is highly advisable that you use 2 first-class stamps on the envelope to ensure that it is sent by first-class mail. In order to be counted, it must be received by 7 p.m. on Election Day, so it's recommended that you mail it well ahead of the date. Whichever method you choose, just remember to vote.
Vote by mail is easy and there's no pressure. Number one, you have time to consider your ballot, and I'll talk about that later. Number two, there's no waiting in long lines where it's hot, maybe rainy, and you're wasting your time. Number three, you have no fears of getting COVID-19. Number four, you have no worries about the weather, hurricanes, storms, or heat. And number five, you can avoid any in-person voting problems like signatures, registration, ID problems, because if there is a problem with your vote by mail, if you vote early enough, the Supervisor of Elections will notify you and you can cure your ballot before Election Day. On Election Day, if there's a problem, you only have 47 hours to amend that ballot. And number six, vote by mail from home avoids any potential for harassment or intimidation at the polls. Vote by mail is secure. You can track your ballot after it's been mailed to see if it's been received. Simply call the Supervisors of Elections office at 941-833-5400 or go to charlottevotes.com. Number two, the Supervisor of Elections will notify you by phone or email if there is a problem with your ballot. Number three, vote by mail ballots are kept securely. Your ballots are locked in secure, guarded rooms after being run through tabulating machines. The tabulation of vote by mail ballots is continuous when the ballots start returning. But what's in it for Democrats? Well, the most important thing is number one, turnout. Turnout, turnout. Citizens who get vote by mail ballots vote in higher percentages than citizens who elect to vote in person. Number two, you have time. This is what I mentioned earlier. You have time to consider the entire ballot and down ballot races. This is important because citizens who vote in person want to get in and out of the polling place quickly. They only vote for the few top line races. If Democrats fill out the entire ballot, Democratic candidates will receive more votes on down ballot races because a filled in bubble is a lot better than an empty circle. Empty circles don't count. And my favorite reason for voting by mail is it's safe, it's easy, and it's accountable.